Welcome to Grown Folk Talking. Express yourself. The podcast will begin momentarily. Welcome to Grown Folk Talking.
Muted.
Express yourself. The podcast will begin momentarily. Welcome to
Unmuted.
Can you hear me all right, extra high? Can you hear me all right, extra high?
Extra high. Sounds clear.
Be an after party, and I got to have somebody and take you to my table.
Once again, our friends, welcome to the podcast. It is From Poverty to Prosperity, the Extra Hype Connection on a Monday on the Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network. Stick around. We just got a couple more for you. And we're going to start our show. Got a good one for you. Don't you know? It's a journey through civics tonight. We're going to tell you something that you're definitely going to like. Once again, you are our friends. Welcome to the podcast. Extra Hype Connection on the Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself Network. From poverty to prosperity, Marcus and FloFokuz hosting it tonight. Definitely going to show you something tonight that you're going to like. I want to give a shout out to some local businesses that support this podcast. Starting with Colo's Restaurant, 16 Clinton Street, mouth-watering cuisine, the best you're ever going to see. The Fruit House at 764 Broad Street. Johan Ismar have everything that you need for your health and your prosperity, building wealth, as well as Halsey News at 2 Prudential Drive, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Shahida and Sadiq will be glad to meet you. Showing some love to some local businesses that support this podcast. Last song, and then we're going to get started for you right now. Come on. Yeah. Extra Hype Connection, Extra Hype Connection. On the Grown Folk Talking. Express Yourself, Progressive Podcast Network. Let it work, let it work. No.
I don't hear anything.
Once again, my friends, it's Monday from Poverty to Prosperity podcast here on the Grown Folk Talking Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network. The Extra Hype Connection with you tonight. That's right, you got Marcus, you got FloFokuz, a.k.a. Prince. You all know who he is right here. That's right, we're with you tonight. We want to give, once again, a shout-out just to some websites that we think you ought to take a visit to. Number one, networkingforsuccess.info. That's right, networkingforsuccess.info/grooveology-360. Those are all numbers. That's our thank you page. You go there, you click on the link at the top, open up the thank you page, and there's some offers there for you just for coming on tonight. And for those that you might want to invite, and maybe just let them know about it. It's all there. We also want to thank all of our new listeners. Our new listeners, if it's your first time, if it's your second time or third time, you never introduced yourself, we want to acknowledge you today for coming on and spending some time with us on a Monday right here. Once again, it's Marcus. It's FloFokuz. We were at the August 16th event. For those of you who were there and we invited you to the podcast, thank you for coming on tonight. We're glad you're with us. We got something that's really extra hype. It's a connection. Once again, it's the Extra Hype Connection on a Monday right here. We got some good stuff for you tonight. Also, another website we want to let you know about as well. We got networkingforsuccess.info/grooveology-360. We've also got liquidmana.com. That's right. Oxygenated water. That's right. Kicked it up a notch like bam. And there you go. That's right. A bunch of oxygen in your water that definitely help your health, to help your body, to help you get back on track. That's what we're about right here. That's right, giving you everything that you might need so that you have no lack. That's right here on the network. Once again, we got ProLogicStrategies.com. Put a / in front of that and put in the word news, NEWS. See the upcoming announcements for events that are happening associated with this network, Grown Folk Talking, Express Yourself. Also, the Extra Hype Connection, the announcements that we have where we're going to be in certain cities, over in the Bronx, the Boogie Down, Brooklyn, Northbrook City, Elizabeth, and other places, as well as we go through the rest of this year promoting and networking. That's right. And last but not least, we got BearCatBody.com. B-A-R-E is spelled bear. BearCatBody.com. The lovely Leslie, right? She was with us here in New Jersey. Everything she did and showed us and had for us was definitely out of sight. I tell you, once she comes back, we'll make the announcement again so that you don't miss it. We definitely want to shower her with lots of love for everything she's doing for our community and everything that she's doing or going to be doing in hers and in yours very, very soon. All right, everybody. But without further ado, we want to get the podcast going for you because we definitely got some fire for you tonight. That's right. This stuff we cooking with fish grease, all right? This ain't hot grits. This is kicked up a notch. This is actually fish grease hot, okay? So we got some good stuff for you tonight. We got some things that you're definitely going to like. And now, without further ado, once again, welcome all of you to this podcast. And for those of you who are new and may not be familiar with this platform, we're on a soft mute right now. That's so that we can get the information out to you. However, you can unmute yourself by on your own phone's keypad pressing star and then 6. So star 6 unmutes you, press it again, it puts you back on mute unless you just want to hard mute your own phone. Okay, and then that's great. So at any rate, once again, to all of our new listeners, we want to welcome you to this podcast. Once again, check out prologicstrategies.com/news. If you got our notification in your text messages, the link is in the message. Just click on the link, go to the news feed. You will see the upcoming events for Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network, as well as the Extra Hype Connection. That's right. You'll see our announcements on there as well. And those of you who also want to have your announcements put out there to our vast listening and our vast circles in different audiences, please give us your information, prologicstrategies@gmail.com. You can get all of your stuff right up on Prologic Strategies. Just reach out to FloFokuz. He got you covered. Once again, also, I want to give a big shout out to the Wolf Pack. I want to give a shout out to the Alpha Wolf Pack. Guys, thank you for joining with us, the Extra Hype Connection. We're glad that you decided to, come on over and come across the water with us over here in Brick City, New Jersey. Thank you for BK joining us. Thank you, Alpha Wolf Pack. We're glad that you decided to come on and champion it up with us. So we're glad to have you here. Come on, bring the pack all in. Bring the pack all in. We all in the wolves' den. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on over. But now, without further ado, once again, tonight, another journey through civics. Secrets to this game revealed once again. And tonight, the topic that we bring to you is titled The Achilles Heel. The Achilles Heel is our topic for tonight. All right, so once again, a journey through civics, secrets to the game revealed. Tonight, our topic is none other than the Achilles heel. Now, I know we're on mute, and I don't expect you to answer this question right off the bat. But if you want to hold it for later, that's fine. If anybody remembers the story of Achilles, if anybody remembers this maybe from your mythology classes back in the day, high school, maybe even grammar school, we heard the story of Achilles. And as far as I recall, Achilles was invulnerable to a lot of different attacks. You could try to cut him with a sword, spear him with an arrow, jab him with a spear, burn him with fire, all of this other stuff. He just kept coming. I mean, you might slow him down for a minute, but you didn't stop him, and you really couldn't kill him, couldn't really put him down. All except for two small areas on his body. His Achilles tendons located at his heels. Because as the story, as I recall, went, his mother took him by the heels when he was just a young boy and dipped him in some kind of liquid solution. But she held him by his heels, the back of his heels where his Achilles tendons are, and lifted him out. So all of the solution got all over him, all except for his Achilles tendons, which in essence is your Achilles heel. Now, if any of you have ever had an injury or a slight strike or hit to your Achilles tendon, you know for a moment that's like the funny bone in your elbow, except it's down where your ankles are at. You're going to stop. Oh, you are going to stop. You are going to sit down. You're going to find a place to sit down. And if there's no place to sit down, you are going to make a place to sit down, because that is not fun. Because that is just like the funny bone in your elbow. When it's hit, that's it. No. Give me 5. I need 5. Take 5. Okay, I got to compose myself on this. Yes. So that was his weak spot, his Achilles heel, his tendons right there at his heel. If you struck him there, you could strike him down. He could not recover from that. So let us let you know that this system, this land of make-believe that is run under a title called legal, has an Achilles heel. Now, what do we mean by that? I'm going to tell you what we mean by that. This system seems invulnerable, as though it's armor-plated, bulletproof, fireproof, bomb-proof, all of this stuff. Can't seem to be penetrated. No matter what you seem to throw at this thing, no matter what you seem to do, you can do anything you can do. And you may kind of stall it out for a moment, but guess what? It gets back up again. And it just keeps on going and going like a bunny with a battery on its back. It don't stop. And you sit there and you look at it and you wonder, what in the world kind of am I dealing with here? Can't really tell. Because no matter what you seem to throw at it, people say, oh, I had success with this, but when you tried it, don't work. They just eat it and keep right coming for you. Keep on coming. And it's like they like it. They take it. They say, come on, give us more. Feed us more of this stuff. Because remember, they thrive on contention, belligerence, combat. In some circles, they call it sport. They thrive on it. Battle. Aggression, anger, being at odds. Technically, it's a negotiation, but with many different forms. That's all it is. It's negotiation. But they thrive on it. They live off of it because it takes energy for people to get to this level, and they're feeding right off of it. They're just sucking it up like a vacuum. Because in their system, they operate in a vacuum. But in the real world, we don't. So what do we mean by the Achilles tendon? This system has an Achilles heel. It does. And if there's something that I know, one thing's for certain, two things for sure. Everything in this universe is balanced. There is a balancing mechanism to everything. And the balance is what you are bound by, which are your words. Doesn't matter what you think, what you feel, what your opinion is. The fact is you are bound by what you say and what is written down or recorded as your words, because remember, your words have tones. Just like on a musical scale or on a musical signature key. Your words carry energy because every single one of your words have tones. You can do it all day long. But those are vibrations, those are frequencies, those are sounds. And those sounds are the power to things. Frequency, sound, whether spoken or whether captured and recorded, is power. It is power. It carries energy. It's like a ministry of sound, where it administers to your need for the power and energy that the sound brings to you. Remember, sound goes from corner to corner. That's why we can hear ourselves when we talk, because we don't speak in a vacuum. it bounces off of every corner. Everything that it can hit, it bounces around and around and around. And that's why you can hear yourself when you talk. But what is the Achilles heel? Well, we're going to tell you right now. The Achilles heel is something that is small and very unnoticed and very unseen a lot of times, but it is there. But we gloss over it and we don't pay attention to it because what is out there is for us to go to court, take these laws, joust, sword fight, battle, prepare, gear up, man up, put our boots in the dirt and say, all right, here it is. Clap our shields and our swords together, make a bunch of noise, yell, ah, and hit the ground running. There's going to be some collateral damage. That's the big thing. Also, going to the heads, hey, so-and-so and so-and-so and so did so-and-so and so and so and so. But in the land of make-believe, they can do that. They can, because this is the construct that they created that we are actually voluntarily operating in. But there's a way to shut it down. Now I'm going to tell you what it is. If any of you got the text message, the notice for today, there's a piece of legislation in there, Title 28 in the U.S. Code, Section 1691. And this only pretty much speaks to the court, but technically across the board, any public office, the same thing goes for. Seals. Any writ or execution that comes from a court in the United States must carry the seal of the court and the signature of the clerk. Must. Not might, not may, must. That means that this is not an option. This is required. Anything, any writ, any execution, any judgment, any order, any decree, any decision from a court in the United States must carry the seal of the court and the signature of the clerk of the court, not the judge, not the presiding judge, the clerk of the court. Because the judge is only the judge when they are in session. The clerk is the clerk 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, no matter what, whether court is in session or not. So the clerk is vested with the power to say, this is proper and correct, this follows process, here's its seal, I'm signing it. Doesn't matter if the judge signs it, because the clerk has to seal it. And it has to be in the form provided in order for it to be sealed, meaning it's authentic, it's legitimate, it's not a fake, it's not a fraud, and it carries the power of the court as well as the clerk's signature saying, I vouch for this. Under their oath and their bond, they're saying, right here, this is legit, no question, this can be acted upon. Now, what's the significance of that? Well, if papers that come out of the court system, municipal, superior county courts, and all the other like, even the federal courts, any court or any entity that calls itself a court, although it may not be, send out documentation, a complaint with an affidavit attached, Those two are supposed to be together. The affidavit is supposed to be sealed, signed by the clerk. A summons to appear in court, to come onto court. Yes, a summons to come. Why? Because it's a writ sent from the court, a court in the United States. And what does 28 U.S.C. 1691 say? It must bear the seal and the signature of the clerk. Now, a seal is not a stamped ink impression. No, that's not a seal. A seal is similar to what a notary does when you take a document to them and they take that round embosser and they put your document in between the two halves and then, press down and create that imprint in your document. That's a seal. The clerk of the court has one. The Secretary of State has one. The Secretary of the Treasury has one. The Secretary of the Interior has one. The Secretary of Health and Human Services has one. You see where I'm going with this? The postmaster in the post office has one. See where I'm going with this? All of these officials have to seal their acts, their actions, their risks. If they're going to go out, because they are now what they call working documents. They're being shipped somewhere through the mail system to be carried from their location to another. If they are trying to require someone to honor something that has been authenticated regarding them, whether it's some kind of complaint, summons, some kind of judgment, decree, order, some kind of writ of execution, some kind of warrant, or the like of anything else from any other branch, it must carry the seal of that particular office or that branch of government. It has to, in order for it to be, number one, taken seriously and given credit. Number two, to be identified as being authentic and not a fake. Because anybody can get any kind of court stationery, send out anything and put a signature on it or rubber stamp it with the signature and say, okay, this is what you got to do. Where's the seal? Where's the signature of the clerk? It goes back to the times when the king in a certain kingdom would take his ring, dip it in wax, and then use that to seal his papers that he sent with his emissaries to other kingdoms with messages. That way, when the emissary got to the other kingdom and they saw the king's impression in the wax, they knew that it was authentic and legitimate and that it wasn't something that somebody put together and tried to pass by another king in his kingdom. They knew this is the real deal. We recognize that seal, and it's affixed, it's stuck to that paper, so we can honor this. We know, okay, these people right here, these emissaries, they're cool. Don't touch them. Don't harm them. They brought us something authentic and real. Because back in the day, you bring something trying to get over on another king in the kingdom, that was your head. That was your head. Or you wasn't leaving. Because they were going to see what kind of foolishness you was going to try to pull over on them, some kind of goofball or joker stuff. And they're going to have you in their dungeon for a little while. Then they're going to tighten you up after that. And then they're going to take your head. Because they didn't appreciate that. Now, the significance of the seal is that, remember this, if that seal is not on that document that you received through the mail, number one, it's a fake. It doesn't have any power. It doesn't have power. It has an appearance. But does it have power? No, because the requirement which it must carry is not there. Because listen, in the land of make-believe, a construct that looks like the real McCoy, but is a few things shy of being the real deal, can they really put a raised, authentic seal on a document without shooting their own self in the foot? Because most of them don't even have a proper oath, which also contains or has to contain a seal. Because they're in official public capacity, they have to be transparent. They've given up certain rights of privacy when they're working in the public to lay transparent to those who want to come in and make sure that everything is in order. That is how this works. It's not the big things about what laws were broken, what rights were violated. That has its place. But the question is, are you even authorized to hold the position that you say that you hold and to do the work that you're doing? And if your position requires it, that you have an oath, it better be in the right office, filed in the right database or wherever, with the right seal on it and the signatures on it, and it better be up to date. Because every now and then, they have to go through the process again of verifying and authenticating that they are in good standing while they hold those positions. And I'm going to tell you something. If those documents do not contain those seals, do not contain the proper signatures, and are not filed in the right office for inspection, whenever anybody wants to come and ask to see them, somebody got a problem. Because that process is a requirement on that individual. Must be done. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. There is no but this. There is no this. Well, it happened because of this. Or was this person? Ain't none of that. Serious business. And here's the other reason. Stuff like this, you'll never see it in the forefront, because how many of you have ever heard of this before? Okay, exactly. Why? Because it's powerful. And for you to know this means that it could be a detriment to somebody who's been kicking your back in every day and telling you, oh, that's the Easter Bunny. He giving you love taps while he kicking you in the back with cleats on. Oh, no, that's the Easter Bunny. He loves you. The harder it kicks, the more love he gives. See? They don't want you to know this. Why? Because they're not in good standing. They may not be in good standing. They may not even have the proper credentials on file, which means they are an imposter. Not legit. Let me put it to you this way. Everybody knows what a ship is. It sails on water. Okay. There are many different types of ships in different categories. But some are boats, which are different from ships primarily. But some boats people refer to as ships, like yachts, speed boats. Some people say sail ships, speed ships, or whatever. You got battleships, you got cargo ships, you got cruise ships, you got destroyers, you got aircraft carriers, all these different kind of ships and boats that sail on water. But see, the difference with a ship is this. A ship has something very small that controls its direction, and it's called a rudder. Compared to the rest of the ship, this rudder is very small in size. But before that ship leaves dock port, Somebody who is authorized and trained to make sure that that rudder is working properly has to inspect, especially inspect that rudder to make sure that that rudder is working and it's working properly and there are no problems with it before it leaves the port. Because if that ship leaves dock port and it cannot navigate left or right, there is a problem. And you know what the captain of that ship is going to say? Who in the was supposed to check that rudder? Get that person up here right now on the double. And you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, first of all, where are your credentials? We want to know that you are actually authorized because you are the one on this manifest who is supposed to check that rudder and it's not moving. Therefore, we're going in the straight line and we can't get out of the way of anything, so we got to go full stop. That's a problem. So they check their credentials. Now, if they find out that they have the proper credentials, they want to know, let's see your log. Let's see where you checked this rudder. Let's see everything that you did, because now we're going to go back and we're going to have our crewmen go down there and check behind your work. Just to make sure that everything that you said was in working order is in working order, because that little thing controls the whole big mass of the ship. That one little piece. It's the same thing with these seals on these documents. Those seals authorize those things to be sent from the court in the mail to recipients. Number one, if they're going through the mail and they're not sealed, it could be a problem. Because that means that now that document is a facsimile or a facade or a fake concerning the real deal. And you know what happens when you send fraudulent communications through the mail, right? Are we getting this? Are we getting this? This is where our authority lies. To go and inspect, to make sure, to be double sure, to double and triple verify that what is coming out is actually, number one, legit, authentic. It's not a fraud, it's not a fake, it is legitimate, it carries weight and power, and it is to be respected. But remember, we're still in the land of make-believe. But even in the land of make-believe, and even in the real world, these seals are required. They are required. However, there is no one in their right minds who wants to mess with the seal, especially if they know that their own stuff ain't even right. Now, what if somebody is not required to carry a note that has to have a seal and a signature on it? Well, somebody that they work under has one, especially in a public capacity as an official holding public office. Oh, yeah, they are sealed and bonded. That's right, their oath is sealed. That means you are bound by your words, and it's sealed. Case closed. Case closed. That is more than a contract. That is a covenant, my friends. That's way above a contract. That's an oath. That's a solemn swearing promise. That's a, hey, I'm putting this on my head. That's what that is. That is serious. Which could be the reason why there ain't no more civics books in our schools. Could be the reason why this is not taught to our children. Why our children don't come home with homework and say, hey, listen, Mom, hey, listen, Dad, hey, listen, Auntie, uncle, cousin, brother, sister, look, I got this project to do on government, and they teaching us all about this and how we interact and blah, 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 because it puts us in remembrance. But what happens when you have out of sight? Out of mind. And when it's out of mind, guess what? You never think of it. It never comes up in your database because it's not there. Just like if you don't enter information to a computer, into the C drive, guess what? You can type it and look for it all day long. It's not there. And if it's not there, it can't do anything for you. You wouldn't know it. Same principle here, my friends, in the land of make-believe. So therefore, what can these people do? They can do just about anything they want to do and get away with anything they want to get away with. Why? Because we don't know where the Achilles heel is that they have. It's their solemn covenant. The swearing of that oath is their covenant to the service to their constituents, which carries grave and dire consequences if it is not followed voluntarily, legitimately, and to the letter. The ignorance of the law does not excuse them. Remember, they try to use that on us all the time, but we're actually not in their made-up world. We're private sector. We're not public. We're private. Remember, we all don't go, listen, hear me out and hear me good. Back in the day, I used to always hear, and I hear it now, I can't take you nowhere in public. You don't know how to act. Okay. You might not be able to take me outside in common, but I'm certainly not in public. I don't have that capacity. That's not my office. I didn't swear an oath. I don't work there. I'm still a private citizen or a private national or a private man. I'm natural. Am I in public? I'm in common. Because people from the private as well as the public use the same easements, the sidewalks, the streets, the driveways, the bridges, the tunnels. We all use the same common easements, public and private. See where the play on words comes in? Because we just never knew. We just never knew. But with the extra hype connection, we're making it so that you do know, or at least you're aware. It may take a little bit of searching and reading and a little bit of interest to kind of really get where this goes. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who were committed, and for what? Because they weren't aware. Were those documents on that case sealed? Did the clerk sign off on any of those things? When people went to family court and didn't understand how these people were regulating their marriages, their partnerships, their relationships, telling them what they had to do with their own private property? Show me where any of those documents were sealed, because they claim that it comes from the court. And here's another thing. One branch of government cannot exercise the powers of another branch, separation of powers doctrine and the supremacy clause. Can't do it. That means that the judicial can't send out its own personnel to arrest people because the executive does that. The executive cannot sit up here and write legislation that people have to follow because the legislative branch does that. And the legislative branch cannot sit up here and bring people into hearings and try them the so-called violations because that's for the judicial branch to do. The supremacy clause points to the separation of powers. Neither one of these branches can exercise the power. Cannot sit up here and bring people into hearings. But administrative agencies under the executive branch are holding courts. That's for the and sending out documents unsealed, and unsigned by the clerk, mostly with rubber stamps or typed in names next to someone who holds a title, mostly called judge. It's no good. It's no good. That doesn't work. People are going through foreclosures and evictions. Got a decree, got an order from the court saying, okay, you got to get out, you got to leave. But due process dictates that the process has to be followed all the way through to the end. That means that, hey, if you start wrong, you don't end right, you end wrong. It's called fruit from a poisonous tree. That's the doctrine. If you start wrong, you end wrong. There is no course correcting once you started wrong. It doesn't work. If somebody takes a chemical liquid, such as rubbing alcohol, and boils potatoes in a mixture of water and rubbing alcohol, just because you add more potatoes and more seasonings doesn't mean it comes out right. You don't serve that to somebody. You don't give the products of that to somebody to eat because it's been cooked in something that is toxic. You start wrong, you end wrong. And these quote-unquote agencies have been starting wrong because we're unaware. And they end wrong. But we're unaware, so we can't take them to task. But now that we're aware, now that we've been made known, and we know that we can take them to task, we now know what to look for. That's what they call, hey, I'm going to pull your coat. I'm going to pull your card. Hey, you, come here for a second. Yeah, I'm so-and-so and so from the private sector. Yeah, you hold office here at the public. Yeah, I want to have a little private talk with you about this. Private to private. See, it doesn't mean that I'm holding it up and waving it around so everybody can see it. No. This is one-to-one. Hey, I need you to look down. Look down here what I got in my hand. We need to talk about this. You're allowing things to leave this building using the mail system, and you might want to look at this thing right here and determine whether or not you should have been doing that. Why would we do that? Because it's our obligation. It's what keeps the checks and balances. It's what makes us now see that this hulking creature made of metal and steel, vibranium and titanium, now has a little thing, just like a rudder on a ship, that controls its movement. And if it ain't right, then it shouldn't be moving. It should have never left Dockport. That's right. That letter should have never went out in the mail. It never should have been carried by anybody to anyone. Why? Because the requirement, you just kind of say, oh, screw that. Kick rocks. We ain't going to do that. Oh, well, let me show you what you're bound to by your own words, by your own solemn covenant. You cut a covenant with people, that's something serious. I'm telling you, contracts are ironclad, but covenants stand the test of millennium. You cut a covenant, and you try to break that covenant. That's all I'm going to say about that. So something so small, seemingly minute, is the one thing that steers the whole thing. It's what allows it to move. And if it ain't right, if it ain't working, then that thing shouldn't be moving. It shouldn't be deployed anywhere. The person who is in that public capacity needs to tighten that up. That's a very serious thing. Those are high crimes. And those are recognized, but we rarely hear of this. This is bigger than a class action suit, my people. Way bigger. This is liquidation, immediate liquidation. This is, you've been operating, and wait a minute, your paperwork has expired. It's been expired for years now. What did you think, that this was just to go on forever and forever, that you didn't have to renew this? Oh, yeah, you got to come back down and renew this. It's like a license. It doesn't last forever. You got to go and renew it. ID the same way? That is the same way with their solemn covenant to the people. They don't put this out there for people to know. They'll let you know about class action lawsuits. They'll let you know you can bring a suit at law. You know why? Because they want you there. That's where they thrive. It's where they make their ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And whether you get what you want or not depends on how much money you might put in the pie. And then you still might not get what you want. But what legitimizes all of these quote-unquote official acts is something so small and so minute that we never knew about it. We never knew the importance of it, how significant it was, and what job it did. You know how many people got kicked out of their homes illegitimately and can challenge that if they wanted to? For injury and harm done intentionally because they knew that these seals were supposed to be on these documents, and ignorance of that law does not excuse their behavior. You see how we wield the power? See how we do that? That is our obligation. That is one of their Achilles heels. And it's a very significant Achilles heel. Do you know they can't even write legislation unless these seals are on documents and updated and all are in good order to have them be recognized as holding their office in good standing? Yeah. Yes, this is a requirement. That's why when you say, I'm going to sue you, oh, yeah, okay, go ahead. Because they know you're not going for the jugular. They can kind of slip, slide, twist out of what kind of hold you're trying to put them in. But once you grab them by that jugular and you clamp down on that throat, they ain't going nowhere. Because they don't want to risk ripping the tissue, trying to get away from you, and they're hoping that you'll let them go. But no, there is no letting go because it's a covenant. That covenant is not in place, it is not proper, then that individual is an imposter. Just like if any of you have ever visited a corporate building, Verizon, Sony, General Electric, Magnavox, any corporate building, if you ever visited there, what do they do when you come in? They give you something to put on your shirt that says visitor, so that anybody who sees you walking around doesn't have to question you because you're a new face. They know, oh, I see your badge. You're here for temporarily for the day. Okay, great. Go on ahead. But let somebody come in there that they haven't seen ever before, or they haven't seen in a while, or they just never had their credentials when they came in. They say, wait a minute, where are your credentials? Who are you? You're walking around in here. We need to know who you are, because this is private, my friend. So you're under our rules now. Why? Because we made them up, because we could. That's another thing with the public domain. I tell you, it's the land of make-believe because they made it up. And they painted it as the only game in town that you could ever play, which is far removed from the truth, as a Shawshank Redemption movie told us. If any of you remember the scene in that movie where Tim Robbins was talking to Morgan Freeman, and he was telling Morgan Freeman how he got bank accounts on the outside, how he got money flowing into these accounts, how he's got deposits being made every so often. And Morgan Freeman said, you're in here, man. How did you do that? Who you got on the outside? He said, nobody. He said, well, how you doing it? He said, the account holder, I made him up. I made him up. That's what the document meant when government ceases to fulfill the needs of its people. The people have the right to abolish, alter, or replace it. You get to make up another one. And this one can be yours. Or collectively, ours. But seals carry everywhere, my friends. Look at your money, what we call money, the bills in your pocket. Look at a $1 bill. On the front, you'll see 2 seals on it. One from the Secretary of the Treasury and one from the Treasurer, 2 separate offices. 2 different seals, 2 different signatures. Shows you this can be utilized. This is authentic. This can be passed. Same thing with the documents that come from the agencies, from the different branches, from the court, executives, even writing legislation. Authentication through the Secretary of State. And here's another thing. Every single court has its own seal. Every county court in every county has its own seal with the name of its court, the shape of the seal, the size of it, the dimensions, how the letters are typed on there, whether they're all uppercase, upper lowercase, all lowercase, and if there are any insignias there, everything is described and approved by the Supreme Court in their state because they've already gotten an approval from the federal Supreme Court. Every single court has to have a seal. Even the municipal courts are required to do things by seal. When was the last time you got something from them with a seal on it? Reminding themselves and you of the covenant that they made. To be openly transparent and not to hide what they're doing on our valuable time while they're getting paid with the quote-unquote taxes that are being withheld, or the taxes imposed through the city or the municipality. We just weren't aware. You know how many things can be overturned? You need a class action suit. Don't need to go and violently protest or block the sidewalks. No, 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 no. Stand on business. Put on your best. Ladies, doll yourselves up. Look stunningly beautiful. Gentlemen, put on your best. Make sure that your pants are sharply creased, that your jackets are nice and pressed, crisp. Your facial hair is tightened up, and your hair on top of your head ain't wild. Make sure that you all smell good and you go in there looking the part. Yes, this is why we're here. Elect a spokesperson or two. Not everybody needs to talk. All you need to do is show the numbers of support and bring the right information to the forefront. Yeah, we might be dissatisfied and displeased, but why? Not because you did what you did, but because we looked into the records and we see here that there's something here that just doesn't seem right. And if the seal is not there, it ain't right. But suppose it is there, and they did something that was against the covenant. That's a problem too. Because that's a direct breach of covenant. And that, my friends, is nothing to laugh at. That's not a laughing matter. That's an arrestable offense on the spot. And guess who can arrest them? All of you. You're under arrest. Excuse me, we got the police out back, so you might not want to run there because they're waiting for you. So you may as well come here. We will cuff you. We will hold you here. They will come get you. If you try to run, you're going to get the same treatment that you see them people getting on that show where they chase people down. Bad boys, bad boys. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just come here. Stand right here. That's right. Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest. Because guess who gave them the power to hold that office under that covenant? The constituents. We all agreed that this is how it would be, and it carried on from generation to generation to generation forever. Now you see how important it is to keep people from knowing certain information, because it looks hopeless when you can't connect and complete the puzzle because you don't have all the pieces. Someone's hidden some vital pieces. But here we are. So now we know. Before we open up the lines for any questions, comments, any clarification, what I want to do, I want to ask my co-host, FloFokuz, do you want to chime in, brother?
You know, again, I'm gonna wait until we get to the end because you say a lot, and I don't want to sully what you've already said with my meandering kerfufflery. So let's just go ahead and allow the audience to jump in here.
All right, let's go ahead and do it. Hold on. There we are, everybody. There we are. The lines are now open. I want to thank you for giving me that time to really get this information out here because it's very important. Also, once again, I want to thank everybody, new listeners on the line, those of you who are at the event on Saturday the 16th. We want to thank you for joining us this evening. Hope that you got a lot out of this. Now, to everybody, our faithful listeners as well as our new listeners, the lines are open. If you have comments, if you have questions, if you want some clarification, please don't hesitate. As a matter of fact, be proactive. Let's get at it. Let's dissect it. Let's tear it apart. Let's make sure that we understand exactly what we got here and the importance of it and how it works. So, without further ado, it's all yours, people. The lines are open. Please, feel free. Feel free.
Salutations, greetings, Islam.
Greetings to you. Peace, peace.
You know, it even speaks to that in the Bible. You know, the 12 disciples were sitting with Jesus, and he said unto him, Abba, when we're alone, you speak plainly, but when you're out amongst the multitude, which is the public, you speak in parable. So there is a difference between public and private. And you shared some real interesting information today, and I appreciate it. You know, how in that movie, Shawshank Redemption, you know, they shared a lot of things, just like donations, gifting, and things like that. When they were on the roof, tarring that roof, and he spoke up, and you weren't supposed to speak to the guards. You may throw that ass off the roof until he said, I just wanted to tell you how you could keep that money with no tax liability.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he told them, you know, gift it to your wife. It's still in the family. You know, gifting is legal. It's just so much information in these movies, man. You know, just wanted to celebrate what you and the brother does, and just say those short things right there. And I thank you, and I yield.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, and adding that to our conversation, because it's all important. Everybody, you got a voice here. You're very important, and we definitely want to hear what you have to say. And by no means am I saying that you have to do what I just released. I'm not saying that anybody has to do it. You have an option to do it, but you are not under any requirement from me or anybody else to do that. It is at your option and your discretion. But I would say it may be good to be aware. You may not move on it, but it just may be good to have a whole card, if you know what I mean. One that's face down, that nobody sees until you're ready to play that card. So, with that being said, are there any points that anyone needs clarified? Anything that I said that maybe is not understandable, or maybe you didn't get it all the way? Or if you have a question or a comment, now is the time. You got it. The floor is open. Even your opinion on the information that was given tonight is vital. You have an opinion, definitely want to hear it. So the floor is open. The floor is open. Okay. Well,
being that nobody said anything, Edward would like to ask another question. I gave him a chance. Now it's time for me to Sir Nose defunct and dance.
Right.
I remember when Obama was head of the corporation of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And he clearly said, I think it was in his second term, that the American people, even though I feel he was more so talking to the melanation station people, that they should start businesses of their own. It would really boost the economy, and it would also help take care of your families. Another reason why I said that, because when you have a job or whatever, they're not necessarily taxing the individual. They are more so taxing your social. Or am I wrong?
You're right. You are correct. They are taxing your social, because that's where your payment is coming from for your wages. Coming from that account. But what is not known, and this is also factual. You can look this up. Whenever you get hired to do a job and you fill out the application, they don't take out the funding for you, like from their profits. They don't do that. The funding for your wages, your labor wages, is already collected from the Social Security Administration for 50 to 70 years worth of work. It's already put aside at a much higher wage than they're paying you out. So if you happen to quit, if you happen to get fired, or if you happen to expire, all that they took becomes theirs after, I think it's after 3 years of separation, and then I believe it's another 7 years if you have not expired. If you have expired, it's 7 years, which is 10 years, and then they can take all of that and put that in their coffers. Do whatever they want to do with it. Because at that point, it's considered a contribution. Every job that we've ever went to, most of them have done the same thing. If they are in the know, they're big enough corporation, too big to fail. If they know, they've already done this. So let's say they take out enough funding for 50 to 70 years to pay you a salary of about $35 an hour. But you're getting 14. They want to give you a quarter or 50-cent raise. And the rest of that funding, that credit is sitting in some account, gaining interest.
That is phenomenal. And they also generate a life insurance policy on you.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Mm-hmm.
That's even something to consider. You know, but if you look on the back of that social, it says do not give these numbers to anyone. So going back to what Obama said, and what is the accountant said in Shawshank, I created them. You can create an entity anytime you want. If you go to the IRS website, irs.gov, they call an EIN number, which is an acronym for Employee Identification Number. If you create that entity, guess whose employee that EIN number is?
Mm-hmm. That's right. The one who created it.
It's written all over your face.
Yes, it is.
Wow, awesome.
Another thing about that, and we'll get into that in another journey through civics, we're going to touch on this too, but when you get those EIN numbers, they're not automatically activated once you get them. There's a process to go through to actually activate them, because there is funding for each and every one of those numbers. Once you get that confirmation sheet back from the IRS, if you do it electronically, look at the bottom of that sheet. You'll see a series of red numbers. Usually they're nines. Some are 9 digits, some are 10 digits. 3 commas, 2 commas. That's your funding. That's why you don't need to go to a bank. That funding on that particular confirmation form with that EIN number has to be accessed. That number has to be turned on. It's just issued. It's not active yet. Which is why when we start businesses, we say, well, how are we going to fund it? Well, I guess I'll have to go to a bank. I got to have good enough credit. You don't really need to do that. It's already provided right there. It's at the bottom of that CP 575 form. You just need to send that back in with the proper documentation, and then about 45 days later, you'll get a couple of things back in the mail. You'll get a payment voucher, and you'll get an what is that called? the acquisition voucher, which shows that that EIN number has now been marked in their system as being controlled by this person and activated under their system. That's what they do. And then they send you a payment voucher. Guess what that payment voucher is for? You make photocopies of that bad boy, you write it out for what you need, you send it in to them, and then you move those credits from your account over to whatever entity they need to go to. But who is going to tell us this? They took our civics out of the schools, out of the classrooms, out of the lecture halls. They want to teach us Constitution without covenant. It's only half of the story. Who's going to tell us this? Like I said before, nobody's under an obligation to do anything. I'm just here to drop information. I'm here to give you gem drops, here to let you know what we have and what we've always had, but we were just unaware. I kind of like this series. Yes, Need, please, the floor's open.
Yeah, Brother Marcus, this is Joffrey. How are you?
Doing great. Good to hear you. Good to hear you, my rock at Gibraltar.
Hey, this, how should all of us do that, use the DBA?
Yes. Yes. That is your employee. That entity belongs to the one who created it. Remember, you control what you create. That is your employee. And your employee comes with funding. It's already been there. It's always been there. We just never knew what we were looking at, but it's there. In DBA, yes. Do business as, yes. Sole proprietors, yes. LLCs, yes. All of that stuff. Do it under trust. Do it under estates. Most states are a little bit different. Do it under associations, ministries, 508c1as, 501c3s if you like, 504s. Political is under 527. Political is a nonprofit, charitable organization. It's designated a 527 organization. They're considered to be charitable nonprofits. And as a charitable nonprofit, guess what? Guess who doesn't get taxed? There you go. I like this series, A Journey Through Civics. Secrets to the game revealed, everybody. Who is going to tell us this? Who is going to tell us this?
So anybody that has a question, whether they're new or not, all they have to do is unmute and announce themselves and ask the question, right?
Well, all the lines are unmuted. All the lines are unmuted. So, yeah, that's all. Any new listeners, if you want to just chime in and give your, if you want to identify yourself, that's fine. If you don't, if you just want to say hello, that's fine. We're just glad to have you. All right, well, we don't like dead air. It's good air anyway, but we don't like dead air. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do a time check here, everybody, because we don't want to take up too much time. We do, if I'm not mistaken, we do have King David tonight. I think we do. So at this time, hold on. Okay, yes. Here's what we're going to do. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. 7:28 is our time check. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to do our announcements. I'm also going to acknowledge our listeners, new and uh, current listeners alike. And I'm going to open the floor for any podcasters that may be on to announce their shows. So once again, tonight, I believe we have King David with Belief Systems at 8 p.m. coming on the network. He's been on his vacation, and I hope he's had a very restful and relaxful time to, recalibrate, reinvigorate, so now he can come back and bring you Belief Systems. 8 p.m. tonight, right here on the network. Just once we clear the lines, call back in, 8 p.m. for King David with Belief Systems. Tomorrow at 7 a.m., we got the prayer call with Miss Carol Lucille. At 6 p.m., we got Grace Space with Jada and Karen. And at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, ladies only, Pink Soulful with Miss Carol Lucille. All right, last week, guys, we had our turn for us to join them. This week, it's ladies only until next week. And once again, don't forget, this coming 29th, Friday the 29th, is the fifth Friday in this month. That means we got another flip side. Yes, Friday. Just for you, with all your favorite things going on. We got prize giveaways. We got +1 acknowledgments. That means the person who brings the most people onto the flip side for that day, you get a prize for doing that as well. And we got some bonuses going out. So we sent out some acknowledgments. We sent out some text messages for you so that you can know that, hey, here's some bonus questions for you to build up points, and text them back to the same number that texted to you, which is the number where they originated from, okay? So you answer those questions correctly, and for each one, it's 100 bonus points. And once again, listeners as well as podcasters, you all are invited to join in on this. Everybody has a chance to win something, all right? So with that being said, and without further ado, want to acknowledge all of our listeners. Thank you for coming on and supporting us. For our new listeners, thank you for chiming in. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you got something valuable out of this, my friends. And we'll have a whole lot more coming for you on Friday at 6 p.m. once again. And don't forget, next Friday, not this Friday, next Friday will be our flip side once again before our last flip side of the year happens in October. So make sure you bring a friend, bring a few friends, because we definitely want to give away some prizes, and we're definitely going to have some good ones for you coming up. So without further ado, if any of my podcasters are on, I'm going to take a few seconds to acknowledge you, to give you the floor to announce your shows. Okay. None of my podcasters are on? All righty then. Well, FloFokuz. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes,
my show
go ahead.
Thank you, good brother. My show is Thine Will Be Done. It's on every Friday night at 8 p.m. It starts at 8 p.m. Thine will be done, because it is thine will. Who told you to put on those clothes today? Thine self. It's just that simple. Beautiful show. I thank you. Keep being you. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank us.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, Brother Edward. That's Brother Edward with Thine Will Be Done, Fridays at 8 p.m. right here on the network. Tune right in. That's right, Fridays at 8 p.m. All right? And without further ado, FloFokuz, my brother. You got the last word. Take us out of here.
Yes, sir. Well, this is another wonderful engagement here once again, guys. We've all done a great job just showing up, listening again, and learning the keys and the secrets to the game revealed. This is a wonderful topic, a wonderful series, and hopefully you guys are with us to keep it going so that we can continue to provide a bit of service to you guys to un demystify and unmask some of these processes for you. But I will say that if you guys go to my website, prologicstrategies.com/flowfocus, or just click my name when you go to prologicstrategies.com by clicking Flow Focus, it takes you to my music page, and I have a song there called "I'm on My Way." And within that song, it says a number of things, but it says in one particular part, we have this thing called well, like he's talking about the courts and everything, and then I go into saying things like dignified ignorance, you compromise innocence, but in a sense we need it to weed out the worst indecentness. So now you see that the system is made of wickedness, trick us into subordinates, ordinances, premises, codes, statutes, cases, complaints, nationals, citizens. Man's law is a fiction. Nature begins and ends with us. So I just want to say, guys, remember, everything is up to you. Just like even the brother just said, thine will be done. It's all up to you. Okay. You have the option, you have the choice, and you have the capacity to contract infinitely. So do your part, do your due diligence, and be vigilant in your actions. Be intentional in your efforts, okay? So that every step you make is sure-footed on a solid foundation so that we can all stand on business, how they say these days. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in, and tune in every week, Monday and Friday, except the last Friday of the month at 6 p.m. right here on the Grown Folk Talking. Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network. And from mine here and to you and yours, remember, ladies and gentlemen, we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can
So
do about
until,
it.
right? So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much, and good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night,
night.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.